What are the colleges that are going to accept NMAT this year? So we have got more than 70 colleges that are going to accept NMAT. So NMAT is conducted by a consortium which is called GMAT, the same consortium that takes care of the GMAT exam, the international MBA exam, right? In India, you have got 49 colleges. In South Africa, you have got 10, Philippines, you have got 8, Nigeria, you have got 6, and Morocco, you have 1. Okay, so you can write NMAT exam, and depending upon the requirements and the eligibility, you can go to any of the colleges over here. So which are the top universities or the colleges that accept NMAT score? So the first one is Narsingh Monjee, of course, NMIMS University. This one has got 3 branches, right? So one is Mumbai and the other 2 are Hyderabad and Bangalore. So the cutoff for Mumbai is 235-ish, as in it's going to be, plus minus 2, looking at the previous year's score, okay? And for Hyderabad and Bangalore, it's going to be 220-ish. Next comes in KJ Somaiya, which also accepts MHCET score, which also accepts CAT and ZAT and GMAT score. So for that, you need around 230-ish. So when I'm saying 230-ish, 220-ish, I mean plus minus 2 will do. Okay, it's better that if you have, 2 marks more than what I have written over here. Then third comes in XIMB, so Xavier's University, Bhubaneswar. It accepts a score of around 220-ish. Then the next one is IFMR. It's 220-ish. Next one is SDA Bocconi. It's 220-ish. SRM Chennai, 180, VIT, 170, and ICFI, that is IBS Hyderabad, 140. So these are approximate the cutoff that you can expect. So anything a little more than it is going to be any day better, not less than it. Okay. So how is this exam different from other exams? So this is an exam where you do not have the cutoff. Sorry, you do not have the negative marking. Okay, it's all speed. And since you do not have the negative marking, you have to quickly, rush through the questions. Now, this paper is very adaptive in nature. So what do you mean by adaptive? So the first thing is you can select the order of the sections, as in which section would you like to solve first. So there are 3 sections. One is logical reasoning, another is language skills, and the third is QA, quantitative mathematical skills. So you can decide which one would you like to do first. And then you need to complete that section. And then the next one and the next one. You cannot shuffle between the sections. Okay. So on the first, before you start your exam, you will get a window where you will have all the 6 possibilities. Which one would you like to attempt first, then the next section and the next one. So once you select it, you can't change it later. Okay. So there is no negative marking. It is held over multiple days and you can give at most 3 attempts. Now, there are going to be some colleges which will take your first attempt. There are going to be colleges which will take the best out of 3. For example, last year, KJ Somaiya took the first attempt score only. And there were other colleges that took the best out of 3. Okay. So you will have to go to their respective websites, the colleges websites, and see what their criteria is going to be for the admission. Is it going to be like they will take your first score, or is it like they're going to take the best out of 3? You can decide on which day you're going to write the exam. So there are going to be 3 times that you can write the exam, right? So the first exam that's your first slot, and then the next one should happen within a given period. Okay. So maximum 3 attempts you can give for this exam. It's going to be costly because every time you reapply for the exam, you have to pay 2,300 rupees, which is the registration fees. Okay. Best of the 3 scores are considered in almost all the cases. I will not say in all the cases, but in almost all the colleges, they are going to score best out of 3. Scorecard is generally given to you in 2 days, that is 48 hours time. Worst case scenario, 1 week. So 6 to 7 working days is the maximum that they will take in order to verify the credentials and everything if there is an issue, and they will get back to you. Your scorecards are mailed to you, so you do not have to go and check. but you do have to check your spam folders because sometimes the mails land up there. Okay, it's very adaptive in nature. Now, what do you mean by adaptive? So adaptive का मतलब ये हो गया, suppose you attempt a first question, suppose you make it correct, then you will have a second question. This is going to be almost of the same level of difficulty. Then you attempt the third question and this is also correct. Then you are going to expect that the fourth question is going to be a tougher one. So more number of questions you make correct and correct. So the computer is going to evaluate as if you are a good student. So the system is going to throw you, some very good questions. Suppose if you happen to make a mistake in the very first question, second question you happen to make a mistake. So the level of difficulty of the next question or the subsequent questions will not increase to that extent. So a person who is going to score a decent percentile or a decent marks will be able to score only if that person goes through all good questions. So when we say it's going to be tougher, it doesn't mean it's going to be very tough. The level of difficulty is like moderate level CAT. So CAT ka moderate level jo hota hai, level 2, which is like easy to moderate, that's the max that you're going to have here. It's more about concepts over here, less about the shortcuts and the formula. If you know the shortcuts and formula, it will definitely help you. But that is going to be only true for quant. For reasoning and verbal vocab, you are really, helpless over there, right? You do not have any shortcuts for that. So this is what we call adaptive in nature. And your target should be to attempt all the questions. So suppose you don't know you don't know the answer to a particular question. Unfortunately, you can't skip it. Unless and until you don't mark that particular, any option for a question, the next question will not appear. So if you're stuck at a particular question, it's not like you can straight away jump to some other question and see which one is the easier one, solve them first. You can't do that. So no matter what, whether you know the answer is very good. If you don't know the answer, you will have to mark something. If it is wrong, the level of question will eventually become a little of the same level or maybe a little less. If it is correct, the next question is going to be tougher. Okay. So anyways, you have to attempt all the questions for each section. Shouldn't leave any. It's very important. So there is no negative marking. So there is no plus minus for questions, right? So you can't skip between, you can't shuffle between the questions. Okay. So it's more like snakes and ladder game, right? Snakes mein kya hai? If you snakes and ladders mein what happens if you get good numbers on the dice, you climb up the ladder. Good number, you climb up the ladder. A wrong number, a bad luck, and the snake will bite you and it will come down. Same thing happens over here also. Like I said, if you solve a question, the next question is going to be a little tougher. If you solve that, it's going to be a little tougher. It's going to be at most that tough, which is still moderate as compared to CAT level. And if the next question is easy, that also gives you a hint that the previous question was most probably wrong, as in you answered it wrong. Okay, then computer is going to evaluate based on probability and how many students attempted the same same sequence of questions, and how many of you are able to score it correct, how many were not able to answer it correct. Depending on all of that, they have got their own formula, their own software. They predict, okay, so this is what a student's level is, and they give you marks according to that. So it's not like that for every question you are going to get 3 marks or 4 marks. Aisa kuch nahi hai. That's the beauty of adaptive paper. Okay, so the higher you climb, the higher you score. Higher you climb means more questions you answer correctly, your score is going to increase drastically. Okay, so mistakes bring down your position, correct answers elevate your position, and final score is defined by your final position. Okay, so suppose if there are, let's say, I'll give you an example. Suppose there are 20 questions in a particular section. If you attempt only 17 or 18 of them, and you will get some score, right? And somebody who attempts 20 of them and will get a score, even though that person's last 2 questions may be wrong, but still that person's score will be better than yours. So attempting only 18 questions out of 20 is bad as compared to attempting all 20 and let's say last ke 2 galat hai. ठीक है? You can only go forward, no backward movement. So you can't move forward, as in you cannot go to some question of your choice, and you cannot, once you have answered it, you can't even go back and check it. So that's the thing. If you are used to reevaluating your answers again and again, you will miss out on a lot of time. You do not have much time in NMAT exam. Okay. So you cannot skip a question and you have to keep on moving forward. So these are the sections. What is the fees for NMAT? Aspirants is coming 3304 included taxes, right, Suraj? It will come around that. It's going to be around 3000. So language skills, 36 questions, you will have only 28 minutes. Your score is going to be in the range of 12 to 120. Now you must be thinking, sir, 12? Even if you make all the mistakes, still you will get 12 marks. So nobody can get 0 here. For QA, you have again 36 questions, but you have almost double the time. So English, the language skill section has the least time because the number of questions are consistent. It's 36, 36, 36 overall, 108 questions. But time to QA is almost double, twice of what you will get in language skills. Okay. So total 108 questions in 2 hours duration. The minimum somebody can score is 36. Who is going to score 36? सारे अटेम्प्ट करे, सारे गलत. Okay, or let's say not even attempted a single question, वहां जाके सो गए हर section के beginning में. Still, and the maximum somebody can score is 360, right? So it's not 108 into 3, it's not 108 into 3.5, it's not about that. Okay, every question will have a different level of difficulty and you will be awarded according to that. You answered first 5 questions is going to be a very different scenario as somebody who answered continuous 5 questions from 4 to 9. You are going to score better. Okay. So the NMAT by GMAT exam gives each candidate a randomly generated test from a pool of questions. Okay. One by one. So the number of questions, difficulty level and the time limit for each of the sections is predetermined. So sectional time predetermined, right? Ye time defined already. Okay. And under normal administration conditions, these are same regardless. Okay. So it's true for everyone. Sabka time for every section is going to be same number of minutes. Okay. Candidates have a choice of selecting the order or the sequence of the test sections. It does have sectional cutoffs. So this is where it becomes difficult because the sectional cutoffs are kind of good. Okay. So Rehan, the normalization you're talking about is a very different normalization. Okay. So the normalization is more like if you should make sure that your initial 8 to 10 questions should be correct. Because once you do that, you will get a very good score. But you need to attempt all the questions. As in, you need to go through all the questions. You need to mark something or the other. Inki ponki karna shuru kar do. Last ke 1 minute bacha hai and there are 10 questions left. Mark something or the other. Don't leave it because there is no negative marking. And if you mark all the questions, it means you will get better marks as compared to कि last के 10 छोड़ दिए तो चलेगा, नहीं चलेगा, ठीक है? So what is the syllabus in English? So you have got vocabulary where you get synonyms, antonyms, analogies, fill in the blanks, close test, idioms. In grammar, you have got, preposition, conjunction, tenses, parts of speech, verb, identifying the error in the sentence or in a phrase, right? In comprehension, you're going to have RC passages, jumble sentences, parajumbles, odd one word, paragraph summaries. So अगर आप देखोगे तो बहुत varieties हैं. The good part is you do not get as many RCs as any other exam because you have got more varieties that can come. It's not like you're going to get at least one question from all the things that you're seeing here. This is the syllabus. Okay, the things that you will definitely get will be synonyms and antonyms. Okay, fill in the blanks. It's going to be either identify the error or choose the correct. तो क्या क्या definitely आएगा. You may have sentence correction. That's more probability of that coming. You will have RC passages. You may have odd one out and paragraph summary. So these are the ones that I have tick marked. These are like the thick questions that generally, like more than 99% of the times they come. Okay. Now, logic, the reasoning part. So it consists of two types of reasoning. The critical verbal reasoning that you guys must have done in your English, or guys must be doing it, practicing, right? And the other is the logical reasoning part. So logical and critical reasoning, which is verbal reasoning, they both will come together, verbal logic. So you have got argument-based questions, assumption-based, inference-based, right? Decision making, course of action, and critical reasoning. So everything is going to be here. In analytical reasoning, you do get much simpler questions as compared to what you can see in CAT or XAT or IFT. So you get straight away linear circular, you have got syllogism based. Syllogism is again a part of verbal only that you guys must be reading in. Then you've got blood relations questions, coding, decoding, series directions, matrix types, input, output. So input, output is one particular type that definitely comes. Coding, decoding definitely comes. Series and direction also definitely comes. Blood relations, chances are there more than 50%, but not as high as the remaining three. Okay. You will definitely have an input, output, coding, decoding questions, which are going to be like 3 or 4 questions of each type. Ye done deal hai. Complete this series and the sequence, that will also be there. So quant, as usual, it has got very huge syllabus. So you have got arithmetic. Okay. So I will just take a seat so that you guys can see the other topics. Right. So you have time and work, simple interest, compound interest, ratio proportion, percentages, HCF, LCM. So the ones that I'm marking tick, those are important ones. In algebra, you have got equations, you have got inequalities, you have got log, you have got quadratic equations. In geometry, you have got lines, angles, and triangles, you have got circles, you have got squares and rectangles, you have got cylinders as in 3D mensuration, you have got quadrilateral. In modern math, you do get questions from PNC and probability for sure. Okay, you will get, let's say 2 or 3 questions from here. AP, GP, HP, Venn diagram, set theory, coordinate geometry, not so much. DI is a part of quant, so you will be getting 2 or 3 sets. Okay, so at least 2 sets you will be having. So you will have straight away line graph, table, maybe bar graph or pie chart. Sorry, it's not line graph that is important, it's pie chart that is important. Okay, and between line graph and bar graph, you may have one more set from there. So table and pie chart are very, very common. Bar graph is also common, but you may, instead of bar graph, you may have a line graph set. And these are like level 1 set. If it's level 2, it's only because of the extensive calculation that you may have to do. So calculation will make it difficult, nothing else. Okay. So what is the key to score high marks? Okay. Your speed is important, as in you need to answer all questions in every section. When I am saying answer all questions, I don't care whether they all are correct, whether they all are wrong. I mean, of course, there need to be most number of questions that should be correctly answered, but even if they are wrong, it doesn't matter. You need to reach at the end of the section. This is very important. Okay. So guess if you don't know the answer to a particular question, don't waste your time trying to make it correct. Don't waste your time, please. क्योंकि लास्ट में इजी क्वेश्चंस होंगे, उसके चक्कर में अभी गड़बड़ कर दोगे. The 5 questions at the end which you could have solved, you will lose out on them. You are going to do a guesswork over there just because you were stuck in one question in the beginning. Okay. So if you don't know the answer, kuch tukka maro, go to the next question, because unless and until you don't mark it, you can't move, right? You must reach the end of the section every time. No IOS, no calculator. CAT is the only exam where you will have online calculator. No other exam will give you a calculator. So which all topics you need to target in English? So RC is almost like a half, se thoda sa kam rehta hai. Total number of questions count. Okay. Vocab and grammar, like I said, they come very, very, they're important. So grammar, as in you will have antonym, you will have synonym. So vocab means antonym, synonym. Okay. Idioms sometimes you will have analogies. Grammar, so you will have verb, tenses, parts of speech, preposition, conjunction, right? All of that. The difficulty level is moderate of CAT. So CAT के level से नीचे है. ठीक है? So VR, AR. So VR means this is verbal reasoning and AR is analytical reasoning. So mixture of your verbal logic and logical reasoning, right? So you need to practice critical reasoning from GMAT. GMAT exam. So GMAT में critical reasoning questions come. So the questions are of almost the same level or maybe a little lower level, but critical reasoning is very, very different from what you see in CAT or IFT. Okay. Arrangements, syllogism, blood relations, and direction sense, they are very important, like I have said before. These are generally non-CAT topics, as in you can get questions from calendars, clocks, cubes, dice. These all topics come because these all topics are not there in CAT. That's why I'm saying it's mostly non-CAT based sets. No, Rehan, RCA is very easy. Very easy. As in you will read maybe once and you will understand what it is talking about. The questions are also very straightforward. Okay, so arithmetic has more than 40% weightage when we talk about the third section, which is the QA section. I mean, this can be your first section, it's your choice. So arithmetic nahi chhodna. TSD, time and work, percentages, ratios, mixtures and allegation. Make sure that you are very much comfortable with those topics. SICI also definitely comes in. Sometimes they will give you a question on installments as well. Okay, and those questions are obviously very time consuming, so you can ignore them, but if you are good at it, go ahead. See, there is no calculator, right? So installment questions, even if it's 3 installment, it's a very, very difficult calculation based question, right? So you need to decide. Installment question, I know how to solve it, but I do not have enough time. I'm going to mark something, I'll move ahead. Algebra and geometry have an equal weightage, which is around 15% के आसपास, 15 to 20%. Okay. PNC probability have 20% weightage. Like I said, you will definitely have 2 or 3 questions from PNC probability together. Okay. Sometimes people see 4 questions in their slot. Numbers, they carry the least weightage. In CAT also, numbers has the least weightage along with PNC probability. इधर को numbers का weightage कम होगा. So do not expect a lot of questions on factorials or factors or base system. I mean, you may have 1 or 2 questions, 3 questions overall, but not a lot. ठीक है? 5 question max मान के चलो, not more than that from numbers. So how to practice for the exam? So you need to write, I will say, if it's possible, write 10 mocks. Okay. So 10 mocks how? So write 3 mocks in September, 3 mocks in October and 2 in November. My assumption is you are going to take 3 attempts. So before the first attempt, you need to write 3 mocks, because every person who writes the first attempt of NMAT, they get a very, very crisp idea as to what they have to do, what the exam is all about, kitna speed chahiye, by how many marks did you miss out on, because once the scorecard reaches you, you will have an idea. So you know where you are failing so that you can work on it. So when you work on it, so in the subsequent mocks, practice on those topics or those sections. So what are the cutoffs? So for NMAT Mumbai, of course, you guys would know this is out of 360 score, right? Out of 360 score, NMAT Mumbai has a cutoff of 235 plus, which is 98 to 99 percentile. Okay. The next is Bangalore. So Bangalore is considered, a little better than Hyderabad, but Bangalore is not as good as Mumbai. So its cutoff is around 220. That means you get around 91, 92 percentile at least. You are good to go for Bangalore. And for Hyderabad, you need around 210 to 215 score. which will fetch you around 90 to 92 percentile. The fees of the colleges are these many. So just by adding almost quarter to 3 lakhs, 2 lakhs 670,000 extra, you will be studying in Mumbai, NMIMS Mumbai, which is one of the very good colleges for MBA. Okay, it is not in the league of I would say IIMs, but right after IIMs this comes in. Maybe this will be better than some of the baby IIMs. Again, it depends from person to person and their specialization. Weightage of DI. So Rehan, out of 36 questions, you can expect at most 10 to 12 questions. मतलब 3 set मान के चलो. Every DI of NMAT is not necessarily that it will have 4 questions. Sometimes a DI will have only 2 questions. So before you start solving a DI set, please look into how many questions it has. If it has 4 questions, then only it makes sense to invest some time understanding what the chart is all about. है ना? 2 questions के लिए इतना time waste नहीं करते हैं. So when you are going to solve a question, it will be written on the top, directions for question number this to this. So you can count how many questions that DI contains and accordingly you decide. Yes, Varun, KJSO may also accept NMAT. Home proctored based exam, so it will having similar slots that like of offline. Offline there is no exam, Varun, everything is online. Even if you select a center not home based, you will have to go to a center and write the exam there. It's not pen and paper based. Sab online hai. Ya to you sit down in front of your laptop at the convenience of your home, your chair, your desk, or you can go to a center and write the exam over there. So the pros and cons being the internet connectivity at the center will be very good. You do not have to worry about all the cameras and everything, because here you will have to show them that you are at a camera, nobody is surrounding you, right, when you are going to take it from the home. So that changes things. Karan, depends on the number of hours. If you start now, this is September has not begun, it's 2 more days, right? 2 days to go. So September, October, I think if you start preparing, you will take 1.5 to 2 months max, and you will be able to give 2 attempts. 3 to nahi ho payega. If you end up the syllabus and write 10 mocks approximately by mid of November, you can write 2 attempts. Better than BBI? Do you even know the average of BBI? It is as good as a third tier B school. My tier 1 B school, its average is more than 20. Thank you for saying all of that. You have done your MBA, it feels like. Right? NMIMS Mumbai, the sectional cutoffs now, right? So the sectional cutoff is going to be 76 for maths, it's going to be 78 for logical reasoning, and it's going to be 80 for English, which is language skills. You are going to have 70 for Hyderabad, 73 for LR, and 73 for logical language skills. And for Bengaluru, it's 74, 73, and 75. So as you can see, the Bengaluru is at the second level, NMIMS Mumbai is at the first, and Hyderabad is at the third level when it comes to sectional cutoff. Even if you miss out by 1 mark, you will not be called. Even your aggregate is even more than that. So your target should always be to have 80 marks in each of the 3 sections. Okay. Thank you. I hope this helped.